What's going on, people? What are the... Right, I'd been asked a question. So that's... I'd been asked a question on what do I recommend for people wanting to study, wanting to learn. What's my advice for them? So what I would say is that, look, I think first of all, it is amazing, and that anybody wanting to study the sciences of Islam. All right, the man, the myth, from my daughter, Layla, Dad, the legend. Right, so the thing is that I would encourage anybody and everybody that has an interest to study the Islamic sciences. They are really amazing once you get into them, and it's amazing if you can relate that to our current context. I want to just spend a few minutes explaining this. Right, that first of all, I just want to touch up on the importance of this. I'll mention what as a strategy what you can do, and then also the key objectives. So the importance of this, people, is that it really is the only way to truly be able to reconnect to our legacy, to this tradition, to this deen of al-Islam, and to understand it in our day and age. Because I feel that we are in a time where really it's... the clergy have kind of, in many ways, failed us, okay? We are failed by the kind of institutions, and I don't think institutionalized religion is going to rescue us. We need to kind of dive into this amazing, majestic tradition of ours and really go to the core. And we need to, at the core, we will find the heartbeat and the pulse of this deen in the Quran, in the authentic Sunnah, in this tradition that teaches us, that allows us to reconnect in a natural way, in the way of the fitrah. Okay, which is the natural order of things, not a kind of organized or institutionalized version of religion that is actually quite cataclysmic in my understanding. Right, so okay, so that's the important... What do I advise people? I advise people, first of all, look, listen, you need to learn Arabic, okay? Arabic is key for studying Islam. Because the Quran is in Arabic, the Sunnah is in Arabic, the tradition, this whole tradition is really in Arabic. And also, people, buried away in the cobwebs of censorship, at the heart of our tradition lie many gems which are in Arabic. But we have to unearth them, and people are not going to do it for us. Okay, right? People are not going to really allow us to, like, people who have too much at stake, even the institutionalized clergy has too much at stake to encourage people to unearth censored material within Islam. Because because it's quite simple, really. It's all about power positions. You would not want to do something that compromises the very position and the power structure that you are a part of. That doesn't... that's logic, people. Okay, so Arabic is essential, and it is not difficult. So the good news is that it's not difficult to learn. It is an amazing and beautiful language. Honestly, it's something that you will be so glad that you learnt. It will reconnect you with this deen. There's almost 30 Arabic speaking countries in the world, people. I mean, just look at if not anything, just look at it as a fun enterprise in which you can tourism, you can travel, you can meet new people, you can, like, just look at how many, your life will change, people. I mean this when I say that. Your life will change. It will give you the, it will enhance your IQ. I do passionately believe that learning a language enhances your cognitive and perceptive faculties. I mean, there's psychological research to support that. The Sapir-Whorfian hypothesis and the research they've done demonstrated how the language you speak impacts your perception of the world. There's been a lot of research done on that. Do you look at things from what angle, and the participant, and that's an interesting study if you want to take some time out and look at that. They looked at participants that were spoke one language and bilingual, and they took I believe it was Chinese and American participants, English speaking, and they administered tests. And when the tests were done in English, participants by far and large kind of scored in a particular way, but when they were administered in Chinese, they scored in another way. But this could have been and to remove the confounding variable of cultural, of enculturation, that it could be a socialized element of perception, what they did is they found a kind of control group with bilingual participants who could speak English and Chinese, and administered the same tests to them, but at different times in different languages. And when they were administered the same test in English, they scored like the English speaking, but when given in Chinese, they scored like the Chinese speaking people, which demonstrated, and the tests were to do with how you saw universals and particulars and what feels odd out in this particular place, and if you had to group 4 of these 6 objects together, which 4 would you group and why. And so your perception of the world was being impacted by the language that you speak. And this is amazing. I'm not sure, I feel it taps into what people like Wittgenstein had said almost 100 years ago, that he felt that thought was in language, that we thought in language. That's interesting. I'm not 100% sure that we do think in language, although I think language is definitely an integral part of thought. So I think the deeper your language is developed, the more intricate your thought processes can become. I definitely feel there is a connection. Right, so okay, so that's language, people. You're going to love it. Look, all I'm saying is you're going to love it. I would advise some practical steps. Okay, I'd advise you can, a book I've always recommended is Dr. Surti's Quranic Arabic. Dr. Surti, an amazing individual who has a book which, it's, I love the book, okay. The book is designed that it kind of has a graded process by which you will gradually start to, with each exercise or with each unit, understand and comprehend so much of the Quran, and that increasingly develops as you move through the book. So I think that's an amazing book of his. I recommend it to everybody. It's one of the first books I studied, and I taught it for many years on end afterwards. I taught it in schools, I taught it in colleges. When I taught it privately. But in addition to that, there is other material out there. I've heard many great things about Ustad Noman Ali Khan's Bayyina course. I mean, enroll on that, people. There's a distant learning course. It's tried and tested. Many people have done it. There's many apps you can download on your phone and just get through them. In fact, I'm going through one in Spanish. It's actually I'm enjoying it. Let me just see what the app is called. This one's called Busu. Strange name, but B-U-S-W. So Busu, not as in a W, but as in U-U, a double U. So, but I mean, I believe they've got an option to learn Arabic there. But there's so many things. You can watch TV in Arabic, you can watch movies in Arabic, you can watch TV series. Just get on there. In 6 months, you will be good. A year, you're rocking. That's what I'm talking about. So that's the Moved to California. Alright. Yeah, my Spanish would shoot through the roof if I. I'm thinking I need to at some point take some time and explore Latin America. Just go. But then I'm thinking I've watched too many of these series with this. There's so many. All you think is like cartels, and you're going to be tortured somewhere. You're like taking out your fingernails, and you're like, I didn't quite order a manicure, but oh, you're going to cut that. I could do with that finger, to be honest with you. Believe me, that finger it comes quite useful. So I mean, so this, what I was saying is the Arabic is key. Alongside the Arabic people, you can study fiqh. There's a lot of courses out there. Fiqh is your understanding of this deen. Okay, you can start off at a very elementary level. It's going to teach you the 5 pillars of Islam. It will expand to a more a beginner intermediate level. It will go into other transactions. It will go into intermediate level. They will mention the different schools of thought, the different opinions. Now, a lot of these things, admittedly, some of the things may be archaic and therefore irrelevant and immaterial, but it still gives you a connection. The element of worship is definitely something that you will get. There's many books now in English, in fiqh. There's many courses going on. There's 4 popular madhabs. I say 4 generously. I'm letting the Hanbalis in. Should we give that finger for the Hanbalis? The small finger, it's like. So, well, you've got, look. So, I mean, the madhabs are there. You've got the 4 kind of major schools, beginning with the Don and the legendary school of Medina, people. Imam Malik's madhab, which really, need I say more? It really just stops there. That's but nevertheless, we'll include the others to let them feel better. So you got the Hanafi madhab, you got the Shafi'i and the Hanbali, and you can basically just find some text. You can find some teachers. There's a lot of stuff online. There's courses going on. If you want to learn the School of Medina, I've got some lectures on YouTube called The School of Medina in the 21st Century. That's a good lecture to listen to. It gives the background, the backdrop to Imam Malik, what his madhab is built on, and why it's relevant for the 21st century. There's I've got How to Pray on YouTube, a video demonstrating the Salah. That's according to the School of Medina. That will cover the basics. I've got a very basic course just covering some pillars of Islam called the Ashmawiyah. This is in the Maliki madhab, and you don't need to listen to mine. You can just go get hold of the Ashmawiyah, and many people have done commentaries on it. Some people use another parallel called the Akhdari, which is more often in like northwest Africa. Ashmawiyah is more so in northeast Africa. They tend to use, and then after that there's other, you can move up the scale. There's some people study, a book I've taught is Foundations of Islam. That's the Pillars of Islam by Qadi Iyad, who was the legendary Maliki scholar from Muslim Spain. I have that in 20 lectures on YouTube. You can audio lectures, you can listen to that. But other people might teach something else at this stage. They might teach something like the Talqeen of Qadi Abdul Wahhab al-Baghdadi. I am thinking, inshallah, to resume teaching fiqh, and I will probably be teaching the Talqeen. So that's that people have already taught that out there. Some people move on to the Risala of Ibn Abi Zayd al-Qayrawani. He was known as Young Malik. This is in Maliki fiqh. I'm giving the kind of like a syllabus, if you like. People study this is really an intermediate, and depending on the commentaries, can be touching into advanced as well. So people cover these, and then there's in the Maliki fiqh, and some people might study a book called Aqrabul Masalik, which is by Dardir. You can check out, by the way, Aisha Bewley's website. Aisha Bewley, she's part of the Maliki community within the UK, who's translated and contributed significantly to Maliki works and the legacy in the English language. Abdul Haq Bewley and her husband and that whole community really in Norwich, they have done a lot. But on her website, she has a lot of works translated. So she has the Risala and a commentary in English. So you could see these. So some people do teach at this stage, like I said as well, the Aqrabul Masalik, which is by Dardir. Then you go on to advanced level. At this level, people often teach Mukhtasar Khalil. Although it's a brief text, but it's really kind of enigmatic almost. It's like written in code almost. Some people teach the Jami' al-Ummahat of Ibn al-Hajib, which is also called the Mukhtasar al-Far'i. This is within the Maliki madhab. And these come with commentaries, and if it's the Jami' al-Ummahat, then Khalil himself has a commentary on that known as Tawdih. But people that are teaching the Mukhtasar of Khalil, there's so many commentaries that you can go through. Hattab is a very popular one, loved by so many people, known as the book is termed Muwahibul Jalil. So this is within the Maliki kind of, but these are people, you don't need to do all of that kind of straight away. This is just a structure for life. You're just kind of moving along, okay. You're just kind of studying, you're getting the basics out the way, you're moving on to intermediate discourse, you're learning. There's in the other madhabs, they have similar kind of their own work. So you'll have in the Hanafi madhab, they will begin with books like Nur al-Idah. They will probably, I mean, I'm just rushing through it, that's at an elementary level. They will probably move on to Quduri, and then advanced texts like Hidayah as an example by Marghanani, and then they have very detailed fatawa texts like other madhabs as well. Okay, that's right. So now, and so the reason I'm mentioning these things is just to kind of give you an example. But right now, you can just begin on the foundational level. If it's Maliki, you can look for anything very simple from those. I gave a few. If it's Shafi'i, if it's Hanafi, you could look for Nur al-Idah. If it's Shafi'i, maybe Matn Abi Shuja' or something. You can look for something very basic and go through them. There's a lot of teachers. There's courses by Seekers Hub, I believe, that are free. They're available online. But there's a lot out there. Just start reconnecting. And the amazing thing about the internet, people, is that you can just start learning and you can start constructing knowledge. Okay. And yes, it is true that these books severely need updating. They need to be resynced with our day and age. But if you get the basics out the way, you kind of start to see, okay, how were those people thinking? And then we can start to work. Well, the worship part, it's going to be very similar anyway on wudu and stuff. Some parts won't, but many parts will still be similar. So that's fine. You can look into usul, which is the underlying legal theory. These are just, this is just some advice I'm just sharing with people that may want to reconnect, and something that, look, I would advise you people. I would advise you is that start learning about people. Right. Start learning about people, because once you start to read about people in the past, it starts to come to life for you. Who was this scholar? Who were his teachers? Oh, what was an interesting incident? What were they caught up in? Oh, what was this controversy that happened here? Oh, what was this? Just read up different people. It's amazing how we as humans can construct knowledge. We can be, honestly, it's amazing. Sometimes I get distracted, people, and I'll be kind of sitting there, and I'll be, oh, what's that? Curiosity. I've got like a manic, curious mind sometimes, if I allow it. And what will happen is, I will be doing something, and I'll think, what's that? And before I know it, I'm researching this word and this concept, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, what's that? And then I've got into this, oh, who did this? And oh, so who thought, oh, so who challenged this? And oh, well, what's that about? Oh, what's this video? What's that? 4 hours later, people. Then 6 hours later, I'm like an expert on that. It's like now I just know so much about something so useless. I just don't know where. It's like I feel I need to share that knowledge now. I'll probably just know something like, oh, really? Something really odd, but just know so much about it now. And you're kind of thinking, well, I don't, I just don't know what to do with this knowledge now. So, so is that how, how movies began? I mean, was that the, oh, wow. Right. So this is the kind of things that that I get up to in my spare time, researching all this stuff. But what I meant is, it's an amazing way to construct knowledge.